Welcome. In this video we're going to be taking a look at using Mei in the UGD arena, what type of team I'm using with her, and why I'm using that team. The first thing we're going to do is go over the team itself and all the different Elunes used in it, the merit, their contribution, what they do, and why this team works together when used this way. Then we're going to go over some battles that I did in a UGD through the series. That's going to be done with a pre-recorded video, so I can skip through a lot of it as it is a rather long fight. This way I can skip through it to make this video a little bit shorter, but it's still going to be a little bit long, so I hope you can bear with me so you can see the benefits and different teams and hopefully give you some ideas for how to build a team similar or to make your own team using various mechanics. The first thing we're going to start off with is, of course, the Mei. The Mei is just a pretty standard build. It's just using a tank gear, the setup for it, so it is a pretty simple type thing. As you can see, my Mei does have just basic type gear. Nothing too special. Her special gear, exclusive gear, only applies to her skill 1. It just gives me a little bit of resistances. Nothing big on that one. Mainly I'm going for HP on her gear to give her as much tanky stats as I can. I have magic defense on one, physical defense on the other, so that I have a balance of magic and physical defense. I'm trying to get as whatever accuracy and stats that I can on her. As far as this one too, for the attack, again it's magic defense HP, so I can get as much tanky stats as I can. This will be, if she drops below 50%, she'll ignore damage for 2 turns. This gives her the ability to heal back up if she is dropped low. The full moon necklace I'm using on here instead of a tank necklace because I want the 5% accuracy rate to skills that cause debuffs. The HP loss is a little bit, but not too bad. Dimension Slate on her, I focused mainly on whatever HP PDEF that I could get, plus with a lot of evasion that I could get on her, so I can stack up the evasion as much as I can. Speed I'm not too worried about on her, as I mostly just wanted base stats to make her as tanky as possible. As you can see, her speed's only a 125, so it's very slow. Her physical defense 13.9, magic defense 15.7. This does make her quite tanky. 10k attack, which is decent. But her accuracy base is at 11.6 with her evasion at 15.3, so she does have decent accuracy and evasion states before any type of buffs or anything for the team. Looking in then now, for that I have her on the healing received 20%. This is going to be for this team, the charge team, as I want her to be the frontline thing to take most of the attacks from Elunes, because I want them to attack her and evade the damage, which is the main use of this team. So I want a lot of evasion on her so I can do that. So I'm using the charge one. This also gives her more healing since I'm not running a healer on this team at all, or anything that does like a passive heal or something, either for supports. I need her to self-sustain with her own skills. Now, looking again, let's go back to her skills. The skills, her second skill is going to be her main skill that I'm going to be using a lot of in this one. That's mainly because it's going to increase her evasion rate by 30% for 4 turns and give her an HP heal over time by 30% every time she receives a turn. Now remember, she's in the front, so that increases by 20% just because of the charge formation that I'm using. The other skill that I will be using on her is, of course, the Psychic Phenomenon, and that's going to be her ultimate skill. And this one, mainly it just, the panic effect is nice because it drains off their souls and stuff whenever they take a turn, so it reduces their soul. This reduces the damage that she takes every time. For everybody that she inflicts a status effect on. The bleed is nice because it can do a little bit of, DOT soul damage to him. But overall, I mainly want it for the damage reduction and just that panic to take away the souls that the enemy team has. Now, the first passive I'm going to be taking advantage of I'm wanting this passive to apply to the Medjed, because the Medjed is going to be a emergency reviver if needed, and I'm going to force that in a couple of the battles just to show you that mechanic and why it's good. So I want the Medjed to be protected all the time, so I don't want it to take any damage from AoEs or anything, so all that damage is going to be redirected to Mei. The second thing, this one, the passive 2, this one is nice because it increases her chances of evading special skills and rage skills by a decent amount. This means that she has a good chance of just evading them altogether, which is nice. But the most important part of this team, and for Mei, is going to be the last passive. And this is one of the reasons that this works so well, that this team works so well when combined together. Because what this passive does is that she has a higher chance of evading attacks from enemies with lower current HP. So I want her on high HP, so she has more HP than, current HP than everybody else. So as her HP does drop, that does become a problem, so I need her to make sure that she's healed. But it's the spell effect that causes the confuse on anybody that attacks her if she evades the attack. So if they have lower HP, they don't resist this, and plus I'm giving her accuracy buff anyway. So this confuse is going to be a big part of the damage that this team does, because it makes the enemy team, or whoever has the confuse, which is going to be the enemy team, it's going to make them attack their own allies. So they'll be attacking their own team instead of me. Also what this means is if there's an Artemis on the enemy team, which you'll see, if the Artemis gets the confuse and I attack it, it won't attack me as a counter. It will attack their team members instead. That's nice. That's a good thing. That's what we want. In fact, the Artemis will even attack itself, which is really funny to watch because it does an animation where it's just hitting itself, and it's quite hilarious. So let's go back and look at some of the other members. The other thing that I'm doing, I'm using a Miho. This one, everybody should have one. You get it from the game from just playing, so if you can, try to get it maxed out. You want it to have good stats. Mainly you need it to have more HP than the Medjed, because whoever has the lowest HP at the beginning of the battle, that's who the Mei is going to protect. So you need to try to get it as much HP as possible. So it's a pretty standard type build. It doesn't have any special gear. In fact, when I did the video, it had worse gear on it than what it has now. I've actually changed the gear since I did this video, so but I kept the HP just to make sure it was higher than the Medjed. But you just basically want it higher HP. Other than that, it really doesn't matter too much about the gear, what it has. It's just going to be spamming its second and third skill as often as you can is pretty much all you're going to do with it. So attacking if you have to, but otherwise you're just going to be spamming its special skill and ultimate skill. So the gear really doesn't matter what you give it. I guess it doesn't matter. The Medjed, you want it to have somewhat decent gear, but doesn't have to be anything special. High attack is good on it because of certain other buffs, but the Medjed is a thing that you're gonna want, but it's mostly because of the skills. There are two skills on Medjed and then a passive that's really going to help you. The main two things about this, about why this one is good for this team, is first the special skill. The special skill, you're going to want to apply that to anything that just gets revived if you have to, anything that doesn't have a buff if it gets stripped, or mainly you're just going to want to focus it on the Mei. Now, that's great. This skill does certain things. One, it increases the damage. Whoop-de-doo, it's Mei, it's a tank, she's not there to do damage. The two other parts of this skill is what matters. The reducing damage that thing receives by 25%. This means the Mei is even tankier if she does take damage and she doesn't evade. She is way tankier. The second thing is it increases the healing. That's the important thing. Now, this skill, I have it at level 7 because of a gear that I have for it that increases special skills. So if you have it at level 6, it's a 20% damage reduction. Not a big deal. It's still, you want it for that, but you want the increased healing also on it, because this is you're going to see just the heal that Mei does to herself with her special skill. With this buff is going to be healing Mei for like 140k every time she gets a turn, because of this skill and Mei's skill. 140k every time she gets a turn. That's a huge heal for something. So that is very nice. The other thing that you're going to be using a lot on her is this one, the ultimate skill. This is a decent AoE damaging skill, so going with good attack on Medjed is nice. She won't ever trigger an Artemiel Judgment unless she can be targeted, so as long as you have at least 2 other Elunes that have more HP than her, she'll never be targeted, but even if she is, she won't take damage because it'll be redirected to the Mei. But this one increases the resistance of all your allies by 50%, so you have less chance of getting any type of debuffs on you because you get a 50%, debuff, basically anti-debuff thing. The routing one, this one, gain a soul, so you want to use that to buff up your team, so that way, if your team kills anything, you gain a soul. Easy enough. Now, the passive 2 just is great because it's great against Artemiels because they don't attack her. She can attack whoever she wants and it'll never trigger a counter attack. The Artemiel just pretends it didn't happen, basically. The passive 3 now, this one, this is the revive part, and this is really good. She can revive a single ally if you need, or she can revive all of the allies. It's like if she's the only one left alive and everybody else dies and she gets a turn, everybody comes back to life with 30% of her HP, with 30% of Medjed's HP. So it doesn't take away anything from her, just boom, AoE revive. It's not one ally, it's all allies, and it's on a 3-turn cooldown, so it does have a cooldown, so hopefully you can keep your allies alive long enough, that this won't be taken into effect and you won't have to revive everybody. But I will demonstrate it in one of the battles just by making a mistake on purpose to demonstrate, this working and how that even in bad situations this team still works. Let's see, the next one we're going to take a look at basically it's Reaper. Just make Reaper go on anything. Great Spirit set is fine. Violent set is fine. Anything to give her multiple turns so she can take multiple turns to kill things faster and cycle through to her instant kill skill. That's fine. The reason you want to use Reaper on this team, it doesn't matter what her stats are. It doesn't really matter anything as long as she has more HP than the Medjed. That's it. So if you got to put her on a HP offhand just to get the HP up, put her on her an HP offhand. You just need her to have, it's not the damage that you're worried about with her, it's that instant kill that's going to be her main focus against tanky units. So you don't need to care about the attack, just get her HP higher than Medjed, because you want Medjed to be the lowest HP on the team, so she gets the Mei. The Mei basically friendship thing, so she's protected. So she'll always evade attacks from everybody anyway, unless the Mei dies. So unless Mei dies, she will always evade damage. So that's basically it. So basically what's going to happen now with the Miho on this team, the Miho, what it does is it's these 2 skills are what you're going to spam on the Miho. So you're going to do soul summons, two souls, very easy. Shapeshift, 6 souls, it's fine. This one's level 7, but that's just because of year, but the bonus increase from it is not that much, so level 6 is fine. Just, it's an epic Elune, so you should have tons of books for it or get them easily enough. These are both 4-turn skills, which is great. She'll cycle through them like crazy once you, not at the beginning of the fight, but once you start into the fight and she starts buffing, you're going to start cycling skills. You're going to start being able to cycle these things like all the time. So your team will always have buffs up, and using 8 souls to do it is no problem because your team's going to have a lot of souls all the time, so you can just burn them as much as you want. The reason is first thing, you're gonna want to try to get Shapeshift up as fast as you can first. More so than the special skill. So don't necessarily waste souls to use the special skill first. Try to get Shapeshift up first, because that's going to be the more critical skill that you want, because that does the evasion buff. It's based on her attack, so give her a lot of attack as much as you can. As long as her HP is higher than Medjed's, give her as much attack or attack subs as you can, because you want that attack up, because that increases the evasion rate for everybody on your team, especially the Mei. Now, this skill is great because it does a crit buff and an evasion buff. Gives you crit, which is great. The Reaper always crits on its special skill, so as long as the Reaper has the Shapeshift buff and it crits, it's going to give a soul to your team. Anytime anybody on your team evades an attack, that's 1 soul. Now it's not per hit on a multi-hit attack, it's just if they attack, say, 4 hits, like with an Artemiel Revenge, and 4 attacks, 1 of them evades, that's 1 soul. 2 of them evades, still 1 soul. 3, 1 soul. 4, all 4 evade, still 1 soul. It's just, if it's evade on anything, it's still 1 soul. It just goes by the attack. Did the attack have any evasions on it at all, even on multi-hits? Great. It's good. So, this is good for her because it's going to give you a soul every time they evade, which means every time your Reaper takes a turn and an Artemiel is over there and it counters onto the Reaper, it's miss, 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 miss. It's just evasion, evasion, evasion. Boom, you got a soul. Okay, so same thing. Anytime they attack, if they get an evasion, you get a soul. So you want Mei on high evasion, so she evades, plus her buff adds high evasion. Therefore, most likely on multi-hitters, they're going to be missing at least once, and every time they do, you get a soul. Every time the Artemiel counterattacks, if that's what you're fighting, you get a soul, which means you're going to get souls crazy fast. Every time you crit, you get a soul. This does a crit buff, which means you're going to get souls. Your Reaper should have good crit rate, so it should be critting often. You're going to be getting souls. So you're going to get souls very, very quickly, which means you can keep these 2 buffs up all the time. Now, you want the other one up because it does increase accuracy, which you want because you need to land debuffs on the enemy team. And mainly the Mei needs to make sure she lands debuffs, so you want her to have as high accuracy as possible. Plus, Miho's going to be the only targetable unit in your back line because nothing's going to be able to target the Medjed, and they can target the Reaper, but it's going to miss, so there's a good chance Miho's going to be your target. So everything's going to be going after her. She'll take damage, she'll take AoE damage, they're going to be doing stuff to her, so you kind of want to have her on this skill up because every time you attack, she heals by 10% of the damage, which is great because your Reaper's going to be doing damage all the time, and it's going to just be healing her every time it does damage, so it's great. Okay, so we went over the team, we went over the concept, so let's take a look at the video. I'll skip through a lot of it just to try to make this as short as possible, but I'm going to show you how the team works, why it works, and a way not to do it, and then the correct way to do this team, which is how I have it on this layout. This is how you want to do it. So, the first part of this video, what it's going to do is I did this team different. Same team, different order. Still the charge, but actually this is not the charge, this is the other one, Iron Wall, and this is running the Reaper in the back only and then everything else in the front. You don't really want to do this. Even though the Reaper will gain souls every time it attacks, you don't need to do that for this team. You're going to get a lot of souls because of the Miho anyway, so you don't need to run it this way. Plus the other, like the Miho will get targeted a lot because it's in the front, so the Mei will protect the Medjed, but it won't protect the Miho, which means your Miho will be getting attacked a lot, so you really just don't want to do this. Don't do this team. I'll go ahead and play through the video a little bit just to show. Let me skip in just a little bit. So as you can see, I'm just basically buffing up. This is not a very good demonstration of the team because I'm running the team in the wrong formation. So as you can see, the Miho is getting targeted a lot, even though it's evading some because it buffed, it's still getting targeted a lot, so we don't want to do that. Also, if you notice too, the enemy Arsalan now has the confuse buff, which is a little blue box with a swirly thing in it that has the confuse buff. This team wasn't very tanky, so it was pretty easy to kill anyway. So, but I think the Artemiel will get the Arsalan will get a team turn just after this. So, but the Mei AoE I think kills almost everything anyway. As you can see, the Miho gets turns all the time because of its passive. If anybody uses a skill, if they have both of her buffs from her special and ultimate skill, and anything uses a skill that uses a soul, Miho instantly gets a turn after that. So she constantly gets turns. So anyway, Arslan died. Don't do this one. This was just the first one I did just to show you don't do this one. So as you can see, I was changing up the team here, so let's go into the next team. We'll start the match. So I did this team to show you again. I'm running the Medjed in the front this time. You don't need to do that. It doesn't really benefit you in any way. You're better off running the Mei in the front because you want everything to hit the Mei to give the evasion, because you want that confuse debuff on them. So you want them to target her more than anything else. So this is the correct formation, but the wrong Elune in the wrong location. So you want to put the Mei in the front so everything targets her, and it's not, you know, more of a choice, because as it is now, nothing can target the Medjed, which means they have a choice of 3 that they can target every time they get a turn. So we don't necessarily need to do that, so let's just go ahead and skip. Don't do this one either. You want to run Mei in the front. So let's just go ahead and skip through this. This was an easy thing. So now on this one, I went ahead and switched. Now this one was too high of a merit, so this one was pretty easy. Okay, this one is a normal one, so let's go ahead and watch this. So battle starts. So in this one, the Artemill, I attack the Artemill, I evade the damage, but it's not going to give me any souls yet because I don't have any buffs, so evasion, evasion, evasion. It's typical Reaper. So what I want to do is you want to buff this one first. You want to use this skill first right off the bat because you want everybody to have a buff, which means if anybody dies, they're going to get revived because they all have the Medjed buff now, so they can get it. Since Mei can target anything, and she has a chance to stun if you do the skill gems that way. Now if you notice, the Artemill missed an attack, so he had the confuse, so he attacked their tank. Now if you notice, the Mikazuki also has the confuse debuff on it, which means the next time it gets a turn, it's going to attack them also. So I'm still not getting souls from anything yet because I still don't have the skill 3 buff yet from the Miho. So here we go, skill 3 buff. This gives me nice evasion now. So now I'm going to have high evasion and I'll start getting souls all the time. So here we go, go ahead and buff this, more evasion. Evade it, you can see the soul count goes from 2 to 3. Evasion, I'm up to 4. Evasion, I'm up to 5. There I am, buffing up the Mei now. On this one here, buffing up the accuracy. Now I'm at 1 soul, so attack the Artemill. The Artemill revenges, evasion, now I go to 4. I get an additional turn, proc again, more evasion, now I'm up to 7. Go ahead and AoE, more evasion, now I'm up to 4, now I'm up to 16. More accuracy, the Artemill is attacking their tank because of the confuse. Here the Mikazuki attacks me but gets evades, so now it has the debuff again for confuse. I go ahead and keep my buffs up. Again, the Miho gets another turn, so I get my buffs up again. As you can see, the Luscar attacked them because it had the confuse buff on it. Go ahead and insta-kill the Artemill, which does splash damage to the side, killing the other Mikazuki also. As you can see, the Miho cuts every time you use something that uses a soul, so let's just do it an attack, whoop-de-doo. As you can see, 128k heal on the Mei. I use a skill, so use a soul, Miho cuts again, Miho buffs, constantly having buffs. I'm back down to 8, now back up to 9 souls. They cleanse, that's fine. As you can see, my souls are just going up crazy fast on this. Once you get the buffs going from the Miho, your souls start going up really fast because of all the evasion that this team has. Mei evades like crazy, the Reaper evades like crazy. Nothing can attack the Reaper, so the only things they can attack are the three things that should have good evasion, because your Miho should have good evasion also. So let's go ahead and go to another fight. So, here we go. This one was this one had a very hard hitting Arslan and but it also had the Artemiel in it too, and a Reviver, and the Elucia. So, as you can see, they sleep me right off the bat, which allows this thing to do 50% more damage from me. So now I took a lot of damage, which triggers the tank set to make me immune to damage, which is great, which means they're not going to do anything to me. So I went ahead and took the kill shot on the Elucia right off the bat instead of going for the buff, just to get rid of that Elucia, because I don't want the strips or potential strips or anything. So just went ahead and got rid of it. I'm not going to take any damage right now as long as that tank thing's up. So just trying to go for a stun on it. I know I'm not going to take any damage on the revenge, so it's fine. Okay, see, now I can get my buffs up, so I'll put up the evasion buff from the Miho. Evaded. Now I got the Grumpy Ghost thing. Now the Confuse is on the Artemiel. I went ahead and buffed for the healing. Evaded the damage on the Arslan. Now the Arslan has the Confuse debuff. So they have two things now with Confuse debuff. As you can see, the Artemiel is really helping me out by attacking the Arslan. Now it's helping me out by its attacking the Fabian. So I'm not even having to do damage. Their Artemiel hits hard enough. It's helping me out by attacking it for me. Alright, well, there you go. Now the Arslan is attacking the Fabian too. So as you can see, this team, I'm doing damage to them, but they're just killing themselves because of the Confuse debuff. They're just, it's really good to use against the Artemiels, because in the Artemiels, which is a lot of times, that's going to be the primary damage dealer that a team has, other than maybe if they bring a Reaper or something, or in this case the Arslan also. But as I evade the damage, it's just going to keep doing that. They're just going to keep killing themselves by putting the Confuse debuff on them. As you can see, the Artemiel has the Confuse debuff again. So we'll just let this one play out, then we'll go into, we'll look for a couple of other matches too. Alright, so that's the end of that one. As you can see, easy enough, they did it to themselves. Here's another one. This is basically, it's going to be the same concept. Now they're going to have a chance to evade damage or evade debuffs, just because they have that Trent on their team, so they can cleanse and they can evade. But as you can see, they're very low because I believe this was too high of a merit team. That's why it's not going to do well. So let's go ahead and skip that one. As you can see on the Mei, my evasion rate is at 81% when it's buffed. I'm at 81.3%, so I'm going to evade most things. My accuracy is at 43%, which means I'm going to be landing most of my debuffs. So good evasion, good accuracy. They're going to miss most of the attacks. I'm going to land most of mine. Alright, here's another one. This is where I'm fighting a Reaper. Now the Reaper is targeting the Miho in this one instead of my Reaper. It's targeting that Reaper, and it's just because of an AI targeting thing, how it works. Now, you can see their Freya tried to heal, but because of the despair on the Reaper from the skill 1 of my Reaper, it's not going to get any heals. Their Automail had the confuse buff on it, so it was nice enough to start attacking their Fabian for me. I now have the buffs up on myself, so alright, now they have the confuse debuff now on another one. Okay, their Reaper is down just from a normal attack, which is good. Now I have the ultimate skill later once I have the souls. Gained 1 soul from the crit, and then another soul just from the turn. Alright, Fabian died to DOT damage. Go for try to stun on the Freya. They're attacking each other now. The Freya is going to throw up a shield to protect them, which is fine. Reaper instant kill kills through even invincibility buffs, so you know you don't have to worry about using. You can use it anytime you want to kill something. The Automail's still trying to attack themselves because of the confuse debuff. I don't really need to do anything because my Reaper's going to kill stuff, and if my Reaper doesn't, they're going to kill themselves. They attacked, but the Mei evaded damage again, so they have confuse buff. You can't go past 16 souls, so that's why I'm not gaining souls at this point. I'm already maxed, even though I'm evading. So evaded. Now it has the confuse again. 128k heal on the Mei, which is basically half of its HP. As you can see, and basically I'm just playing. See, that's the Automail attacking itself that you just saw there in that animation. That was Automail attacking itself. It's like it turns around and just attacks nothing, but that's actually attacking itself. Now it decided to attack them. So, see, I'm not really even having to do much, and they're just attacking themselves over and over again. See, I attack them, and then the Automail counters, and then puts the confused debuff back on itself again, which means now it's not going to attack me anymore, it'll just attack itself. Same thing, now they have that again too, so it's with the confused debuff there, the Automail won't revive anything, so you don't have to worry about it reviving stuff as long as it has that confused debuff on it. Here's another one here. This is another pretty easy one. This Lusker, I believe this is the same person that I fought earlier. So this is just, I think I did a different layout this time, but it's pretty much the same team, so it's easy enough to beat. We'll go ahead and skip through this one. Let's look for a different one. Okay, this one here, this one you're fighting a Nika. So the Nika can reflect debuffs or give you the same debuff that you put on it, which is what you're going to see. You're going to see the confused debuff go on to the Mei because of that, but you're still going to see that it's not an issue because the Mei doesn't do much damage, so it's not like it's a problem anyway. As you can see, their Automail already has the confused debuff. Now see, right there, the Nika attacked me, missed, but applied the confused debuff to me. But see, now their Artemail is attacking their Nika because of the Confused debuff, so thank you. As you can see there, my Mei attacked me, whoop-de-doo. So now they're just attacking themselves. It didn't really matter what I did there, I'm just wasting a turn essentially. So for this one they're attacking each other, so my Miho is stunned up so I can't buff it, but I can still buff the Mei with at least some damage reduction, and I can give it its self buff for that, but right now it's on a charm state, so I can't do much to it, and that's because of the random buff that the Nika applies. As you can see, I had another Confused debuff, but it went away because I'm charmed and I don't get a turn anyway. So here's their Artemail being very nice, attacking themselves again. Here's the Reaper just able to deal with them, as it really doesn't have to worry about much else. So as you can see, this team is still no problem. The Nika is there, but it's not going to do much because I still evade a lot, plus the Medjed is going to give me that increased resistance, so there's not too much chance that the Nika is going to be able to do a lot to you. So you're pretty safe with this team as long as you have that in there to help. So let's just go through. This was a 3-man team that was done that has a high, I believe it has a decent, yeah, 2100 merit. Guy's very high level, so definitely plays the game very actively. 128k CP, so decently tanky. 128k across 3 Elunes. It's going to mean it's going to do a lot of damage. This team is only 3. It's not a bad team, but because it's 3, they build up souls, usually somewhat slow. That's why the Reaper needs to take turns, because that's their main way to build souls. So going with a low number of people in your team can be a slow way to build souls. So I'm only 4 in my team, but I'm gaining souls very quickly just because of the mechanics of skills that I have. So as you can see, their Reaper is about to kill my Miho because it keeps targeting it and doing a lot of damage. But that's okay. My Reaper killed theirs first, so no biggie. So here, this is where we start the fun now again, is we start buffing ourselves. We start doing this, so we're fine. Was still provoked, so it didn't matter, so I just passed the turn so that way the Medjed could go ahead and give a better buff to the Miho to reduce damage in case the Artemail attacked it. But now the Artemail has the Confuse anyway, so it's just going to help me now. As you can see, I attacked, but the Artemail is doing nothing because it's confused, so it's not going to attack me because it thinks I'm on its team. So this team, pretty straightforward, pretty easy beat. Once you kill the Reaper, there's not much else I have to worry about as long as the Artemail just keeps attacking things that it evades. So this team, pretty easy to deal with. Let's take a look at the one that I did where I purposely kind of lost. Was it this one? Yeah, this is the one. So basically what I want to show you what happens is on this team, it starts off, they have 3 in the back, 1 in the front. Now, I do something on here, mistake on purpose on this battle by prolonging it instead of just winning it when I should have. So the reason I did is because I want to show you, that it's not all hope is lost. Now they have a very tanky Artemil, so I go through and I can kill them pretty quickly in the back. Here you see the Reaper's dead already. Then we'll just start taking him out here. Mikazuki's dead now, as you can see, pretty quick. The Elucia's dead, so the only thing left is the Artemil. Best thing to do in this case is just kill the Artemil as soon as I get a chance. So as soon as I get a chance for an instant kill with the Reaper, I should take it, kill it, be done with it, because I don't want it to revive. So, but what I do is, now my Reaper's going to get a turn. And what happens is it puts its debuff on it. So if they revive now, I can't attack their Reaper anymore. Like, nothing I have will be able to do damage to their Reaper. Now, as you can see, their Artemil is getting low HP, but if I'm just messing with it right now just to play around, just because I want it to revive, and I'm hoping they have it set to revive. So I'm just basically trying to do as little as I can to it in the hopes that it revives. So I want to show you what happens. So now, here you go. Now it revives. And what happens is the Elucia immediately gets a turn, heals it up some, so now it's back up pretty decent HP. Now they got their whole team up again. Well, here's the problem. Because my Reaper has its assassination plot on the Artemil, as you can see, I can't do any damage to the Reaper, which nothing I have now can do damage to the Reaper, which means their Reaper is just going to kill me. It's just going to attack and kill me and whittle me down over and over again. So the other 2 members were easy enough to kill because they had low HP. They're dead, but the only way I can start attacking their Reaper is to kill the Artemil, and it just healed itself. So as this progresses through in UGD, you start getting these massive buffs to attack, which means their Reaper is going to start hitting crazy hard. Because it's going on for a long time. And you're going to start seeing that in just a second when their Reaper starts hitting my Miho. You're going to see really high damage. So I'm trying to do that to show you that even in bad situations where I'm in a bad situation here, I can't do anything. I have to attack it, but I won't ever land damage on it because it doesn't have the assassination plot. So even though I have Confused on their Artemil, it misses too. As you can see, very high damage from their Reaper now. My Miho died, but it got revived by the Medjed. So I protected again. So I still can't do anything to it from my Reaper. So I'm still just useless right now at this point. So I got to go through this 200+K Artemil here before I can touch the Reaper. And I can't attack the Artemil with my Reaper, which means I can't instant kill it. So how do you kill it with these 3 Elunes that don't do damage? But that's why this team is good. So here, the Artemil attacks itself. Now it attacks them because it's still confused. So that's fine. See, now they're attacking me. They kill my Reaper. So now the only thing they have left is the Mei, and now they're going to start attacking my Medjed, which is their Reaper's going to attack that and has a chance to instant kill it when it has the instant kill up. Alright, they have Confused, but Medjed got a turn, boom, 2 revives again. So now I'm back up, so what do I do? Who do I protect? So I'm going to go ahead and protect the Miho because I want those buffs. So now I'm going to use here this because I want to cause the panic to reduce souls, so that, and I want to put dots on it. Well, that does enough damage to the Artemeal, knocks it down, which then allows me to kill the Reaper. See? Easy enough. Even in bad situations, this team still wins because of revives and because of DOT type mechanics, and because that they do it to themselves. So this team is good, and as you can see, we went through the entire thing, and it does a very good job at killing stuff. It is a very simple team, very easy enough to build. You don't need a very good geared Reaper, you don't need an OP geared Miho, you don't need an OP geared Medjed. You need a pretty well geared Mei to tank damage, but mainly you want evasion, 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 evasion. That's what you want. As much evasion as you can get, especially on the Miho and the Mei. Those are where you want. Again, you want the Medjed to have the lowest HP on the team because you want the Mei to protect it so that you can revive. With the buff from the Medjed onto the Mei, you will heal by a ton of damage every time you get a turn because of Mei's buff, that you're going to survive for a long time. So as long as you keep the Medjed buffs on your team, they will revive every time she gets a turn when it's off cooldown. Even if they die while it's on cooldown, once she gets a turn, it revives them. So it might not revive her on her next turn, but it'll revive them on a subsequent turn after that. So you just need to keep her alive. That's why the Mei is there, to protect her from all the damage. Now the only thing that could happen is that their Reaper will attack and instant kill the Medjed, and then of course you have a problem. But usually that's not going to be the case, because you'll be able to revive the other two, and then the Reaper will start attacking those instead anyway, because they'll be back alive. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video. As you can see, the team works. It's a pretty straightforward team, as you can see now on this team, because of the gear changes that I made to the Miho. I got about 5k more CP out of it. That's just because of a couple of gear changes I did to the Miho just to make her a little bit tankier. That's it. But as you can see, this was a thing that I talked about in the quick look video for Mei, and this is now just showing you that what I was saying in there about the evasion mechanics of a team like this is good. Now if you want to use a team like this for air battles, basically you want this team, but there are two other options you can go with in that other slot. One of the options, you can go with another just some kind of other DPS or whatever. You can go with an Artemeal, whatever you want for DPS. You can go with a tank, something tanky like a Weiwei or something, so you can make her tanky. You can go with the Karu, just so you have the extra evasion based on HP loss too. That can help. But if you want another source of damage, you can also go here with her, the Seraphine, because her passive, she has a chance to evade AoE attacks, which is good. That means she has a chance, extra evasion chance. But she also will counterattack with a skill 1 crit. She will counterattack if she is attacked by anything and she evades the damage. So with a high evasion on her and she counterattacks anything, she'll just be doing damage as a counterattack every time that, you know, someone attacks her and she misses damage, or an AoE goes and she evades it because of the extra evasion. So she just has those more chances to do counterattack. So she's a good she would be a good Elune for that team. You can go with the Nika for doing that. You can go with almost anything in the last slot. It really doesn't make too much difference what you use there. I would go with another DPS or something, or a healer, or a Weiwei for the buffs, just to make sure that your team is very tanky. Just to, you know, so if you do take damage, especially on that Miho, you're going to survive it. But that's about it. That's so if you want to use it for air battles, you can use this same team. These are the 4 main ones that you want for the reasons I discussed. The 5th slot is pretty open, pretty universal. There's lots of options. You can go with literally almost anything you want, and it's not going to make any difference to this team because the team is so strong as it is with just 4 that the 5th slot is pretty much whatever you want to use. Either support for damage reduction, attack, some other type of DPS, some type of healer, something else that you want to use. Doesn't really matter. You can do that. You'll be fine. It's a good team. So that's going to be it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Sorry it's a long video, but there was a lot of stuff and a lot of mechanics and things to go over in this one that I wanted to make sure was clear. And I wanted to show demonstrations of the team working and how it works, why it works, what it does, show you in a real situation. As you can see, I went through the entire UGD, the Underground Arena. I went through the entire thing with this same team, just did it the entire thing, all of the battles till the end, even beating the hardest teams at the end, you know, the best teams by ranking and stuff, even beating those teams, the strong teams, the OP teams, with just this basic team that doesn't have much and is very simple, just by using the mechanics of the Elunes together to make them strong. So anyway, if you have anything else you'd like to see or anything else you would want me to go over with this team or demonstrate with it or anything like that, let me know and I will do that and get back to you or test it or whatever you need. So you have a good one.